Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle video tutorial on Illustrator. I'm using 221. Most of this you can use 2021, 2020, etc. Now what I'm doing is I'm creating this lovely zoom effect with type and also using a couple of other features of Illustrator. So let's just remove that first, because what I want to do is quickly create a graphic style. So just quickly create a very basic object here, no fill and black stroke there. What I want to go effect, distort and transform, and then transform. And I'm just going to set that to 105, and this scales it, so I'm going to have a zoom effect, 105, whoops, and go to the next line, 105, no moving, doesn't particularly matter. And also you can put in a number of copies, maybe 14, could be 20, could be 50, could be 100, up to you. And also scale strokes, you can change it, very subtle difference, you can see it slightly scaled differently. Click OK. So you've got that. What you can do, go to graphic style. All the panels in Illustrator, appearance, properties, etc. you can find in window. So appearance, graphic styles. Just save it over here. So go there, new graphic style. That's the right side menu. Then you've saved it. You've got it in here. So you can use it later and you can use it with type. And I'm just going to use it now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to create some type. So go to the type tool and I'm going to create a very basic set of words. Basic set of words, and I'll put it over a couple of lines as well, and you can see the design there. And of course you can vary the font, you don't have to go with that one, you can go with any of the other ones. I'm just going to Myriad Pro, good old Myriad Pro, and now I'm just going to apply this, and you can see the design there. You've got a nice zoom effect straight away, very quick and easy, and you can resize it and see it, just move that around. You can rotate the design, you can also vary the stroke. You can go over here and make it 3. You can make it 0.75. You can apply, if you want to, object, envelope, distort, make with warp. You can create all kinds of different things. I'm not going to do that, but you can warp it and it's still editable. You can still modify the type. But I don't want to use envelopes. I always find when I use envelopes, I end up stuck in the envelope and I go around in a circle. And that's not the point of this tutorial. So just got that. Well, what you can do, you can also go over here to the type. My favourite tool, I love the touch type tool. And what you can do, you can select individual characters. Now you can't change the colours or anything of individual characters, but you can change the size. And everything that you can do in here can also be done via window and type and all these sort of settings here. Touch type just makes it interactive, just makes it a lot easier to manipulate. And again, you can click on another one and you can rotate that design. You can see you can create all kinds of weird and wonderful designs. You can have that there, move it down there. Now sometimes it will just not let you do it. You suddenly find you can't move it, and that's obviously hit some internal restriction. That's it. As far as it can't go any further. You can push as hard as you like, but it isn't going to go over there. These things are blocking it in some particular way. But you can select those and you can vary the size of that. So you can continue to manipulate it in all kinds of different ways. What you can also do, if you don't want to continue anymore, you can always go to object and you can expand. So you just turn it into normal pass. But what you can also do here, you've got this design here now. You can go up here, you've got various things, stroke. You can always go to set light size, change the size, maybe go 2 point. You can always change it to red, green, blue, whatever. You can also go over here to the profiles and you can set up profiles. You can see, actually to be honest, it doesn't change that much. Maybe 9, it might slightly different. You can go through, run through these width profiles and you can create different designs that way. I'm just going to undo that. Back to that design. What you can also do, you can use this is why it's only 2021, is you can use repeat. So let's just resize that bit so you can just sort of, and also I'm going to rotate it. Just going to rotate that design, because what I want to do, I want to go to object and I want to go down here to repeat, and this is only available, like I said, 221 radial, and you can see what happens. It creates these instances all the way around, and you can manipulate this. You can change the radius, obviously you can move this. Now of course it's going to be a bit jerky, it's flashing backwards and forwards as it moves around. Also what you can do, you can increase the number of instances. There's an option here, you can increase that, or you can decrease them if you want to do that. But you can also edit the thing. So you can just click on there and you can see now you're into that design there, and you can change, and as you move that around, you see that will happen. All those changes. And you can also move that around. You can rotate it. Create some interesting type effects that way. But also what you can do, you can still go over here and you can still manipulate that. And as you see, as you change that, all the rest will change. And you can manipulate it and move it around in your heart's content. However, let's just come out of there now. To come out of the repeat, you just go up here to the top left and then click out of there. So now you've got this design, which maybe is a bit extreme. I have to say it's a bit of a slight bit of a mess. However, what you can also do, if you want, you can go over here, appearance panel, and there's a right side, and you can add a new stroke. So you can add a new stroke to this. You can also, if you go into, let's just go double click again into it. You can do the same there, but in many ways slightly better actually, I think. So you've got that design there, which you can manipulate. Let's just see, I can just select it. And now what I can do, I can go over here and I can add a new stroke here. So as I add that new stroke, it's added to all those instances all the way around. But this new stroke, what I can do, I can manipulate that on its own. So this one I can say, you know what, I want that to be red. But of course at the moment it's on top of the other one. So what you can do, you can move it below. So I can just drag it like that, just should drag down below. Or you can just move it around. If it doesn't let you do it, quite often, sometimes it doesn't, it just suddenly refuses to move. You just got it below, and what you can do, you can obviously change the size. So you can go for 3 or 2, and you can see what you've got the design now. You've got that, obviously the black around the edge, and you've got the red, the core of the characters, and it's still all live. So you can still go over here to the touch type, and you can still click on there, and you can still manipulate that design. You can also, of course, just going to go to that design there, and it can actually get quite messy about which ones I'm actually editing. Double click again, so I'm into that design. What you can do, you can also apply effects, maybe just to the one stroke. So maybe that one, the black one that's 2 point, you can make it obviously a bit bigger, 4 points say. You can also go to apply effects. So effect, and maybe go down here, blur, Gaussian blur. So you can give a bit of a blur there, maybe not that high, but about there. So you can just blur it a bit. Click OK, and it's still live. You can still edit this design and still manipulate this design. You can also, what you can do, you can move various things. So say you decide you've got this one. I'm going to remove that Gaussian blur. That's a bit extreme, but it does have a tendency to slow things down a bit. But what you can also do, you can go to Effect, Distort, and Transform. Maybe go for the transform here. And now I'm not going to go for 10. That would be extreme. You'd end up really pushing this, but maybe like 2, say 2 copies, and then I can say move, and you can move that design, so you can just manipulate that even more, maybe change the angle, and you can create a really sort of extremely abstract design using all that, and you can see what's happened. The result becomes a real mishmash of colour and things, but it's still, if you remove things, let's just remove that. You can, of course, remove anything at any time. You can change things as well. So if you want to, put it down to 0.75 and you can see the design there. You've got that transform. You can create really extreme image right across this. What a great backdrop that would be with all that type, which is still live at that point. Click on the character to select, and you can select that, and you can still manipulate that design, and that will change for all of those instances in the repeat. Now I'm just going to come out of that now. Now, of course, I forgot to set the red back on again. Anyway, I'm not going to do that, because what I want to do next thing is, you've got that design there. Let's just zoom out a bit, Navigator, so I can actually see it. You can see this design. It's probably pushing it in terms of there's a lot of paths there. You can also warp it. You can say, go to Object, Envelope, Distort, and now make with warp. I always find the other way around, you can actually warp it. Now it's obviously going to take a bit of processing, but you can see you can warp the design, and it may eventually show itself. Sometimes the preview will not, it just will not respond. I think I pushed it too far. Okay. Sometimes envelope does, I seem to have a love-hate relationship with the good old envelope. It does have a tendency to get a bit confused. So I think that's a good point to actually finish the run through of this using touch type, as well as, of course, repeats, and also with the zoom transform on type, which is all live until, of course, you use the envelope distort, which removes it completely by accident. Well, I hope you found this tutorial of interest. Always adding new tutorials all the time about Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity Photo, and many other applications. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Always nice to have some comments. People putting sort of, did I do something too quick? Did I not explain something reasonably well? Always great to hear. Also, a dislike or like. Thank you much.